A PhD student, they're given great latitude. That's the nature of being a PhD student, as it were. It's perhaps the last time in your professional life that you'll have this kind of freedom to take nothing at face value, examine assumptions, challenge accepted wisdom.
What my thesis essentially is a very big challenge to the disaster theorists who have relegated, if you like, warning fatigue to the status of a myth. Warning fatigue has been looked at only once really seriously in 1964, and it was looked at in a very clinical sort of psychological setting, if you like. It certainly wasn't in the real world. And since then, anybody who's talked about it has just kind of repeated what the person before them said.
The question that she's approached is one that everyone has traditionally assumed happens, but there's been no actual empirical backing for it. So what she's done is gone away, done the research, found some empirical data, and as necessary has gone and developed some specific surveys to develop that data.
I thought, well, if warning fatigue is as real, possibly, as I think it is, then what does it look like? Because unless you can operationalise it, unless you can sort of put flesh on the bones of this phenomena, then it's not helpful to anybody.
The CRC scholarship program is designed to provide students with a broad range of support, and in particular its difference is that it provides the students with a connection with industry. Every student, even prior to starting with the CRC, has an end user sponsor who indicates that they take an interest in the research that the student is doing. They're willing to open doors, and they even undertake that once the student has finished, they will read their thesis. Now, most of them only manage to read the abstract or the executive summary, but they do indicate that they will take an interest in the student, and many of them do that in a very active way.
My role with Brenda is basically to act as a bit of a sounding board for how her research will have an impact within industry or within government. And so we meet on a reasonably regular basis, given that she's been living in New Zealand, to discuss the progress of her work and ways in which it could be tweaked. It's about making sure that her research is relevant to the needs of government, for example, and particularly by virtue of the nature of her research question. It's about ensuring that can eventually become part of policy, or the way in which we address policy questions.
John made himself available to Brenda to provide her with the kind of information that's not out there in the public domain. He's been a very important source of realpolitik and information as it's actually needed and used by the folk at the policy centres who actually make things happen.
Well, I'd very much like to be involved in the industry. Once again, working practically. I mean, I've seen obviously that research can be practical, and working in the university academic system is certainly an option for me, but my first choice, if I had a choice, would be to work in the industry, work with agencies who are really interested in how their community is responding to what they're saying, puzzled as to why they're not possibly doing what they think they should be doing, despite years and years often of really good work and good effort on their part. And hopefully I could bring some clarity to maybe some of those issues.